The COMMLITE Nikon to Sony adapter used to be terrible. There's lots of videos out there about it being terrible, but supposedly a firmware update has solved a lot of the problems. Let's see how it does. So this is the COMMLITE CM-ENF E1. And there are many videos out there about this or a very similar adapter by the same company that is just terrible. It doesn't work. It's destroyed cameras in the past. I've seen several videos about people that had this adapter and it killed their cameras and it wouldn't power back on. They had issues with it freezing up the camera and you had to drop the battery, put another one in for it to boot back up. Very weird stuff going on. So I was a little hesitant when I first hooked this up, but supposedly the v06 firmware has changed everything. And from my testing, it has done a very good job. So let's go ahead and crack this thing open. So all over the box, it tells you all the stuff it supports. It supports EXIF data, autofocus, aperture control, Nikon lenses, and vibration reduction, which I didn't get a chance to try. The only lens I could get my hands on is Nikon's Nifty 50 equivalent. Cracking open the box, you get some paperwork, and this is actually pretty interesting and pretty critical here, is a list of all the lenses it supports. There's about 70 lenses here, so you get a massive selection of lenses when you use this adapter. Deeper inside, you got a nice little foam cutout around the adapter itself. There's a front lens cap, a rear lens cap, a 1/4-20 screw in the bottom, and everything is made out of metal and it feels incredibly solid, incredibly well made. You can see that there is the aperture control slider on the side there, and as well as the contacts for the autofocus and EXIF data. So getting Nikon lenses to work with Sony has been notoriously difficult in the past, but this thing solves a lot of the problems. I tested this with the A6500 as well as the A7R II and got identical results between the two, both of which are on the list of supported cameras. If you look here on the front, you can see that the A6300, A7R II, A7 II, A6500, and the A9 are supported. I wouldn't try this out on any other cameras because of the track record that this adapter has. You don't know what it's going to do, and some people have had very bad luck with it. So I would just, if you're not on the supported list, I wouldn't even try it. So I tried this out with every autofocus setting I could find, and the only ones that are really available when you're shooting pictures is autofocus single shot and autofocus continuous, and both of these worked incredibly well. I shot picture after picture after picture with this on both this camera as well as the A7R II, and I would say it's 97% as good as any native lens I've used. It works fantastically, and actually I'm quite a fan of this Nikon 50mm lens. I didn't think I'd like it that much because it is a cheaper lens, but I've had a good time shooting with it. So I'm just going to have pictures rolling over here that I have taken with this. I don't know which ones were the A7R II, which ones were the A6500. On the A7R II, I did do crop sensor mode as well as full frame mode. It worked beautifully with both of them. However, there was one big caveat, and that is the video autofocus. The video autofocus just flat doesn't work. The only time it focused or even tried to focus was when I was touching the shutter button trying to get it to manually actuate the focus. Other than that, it wouldn't even try. I tried several different focus modes, just nothing. So don't get this if you're hoping to use your Nikon lenses for video. It just doesn't work. You're going to be better off just getting a super cheap manual lens because it's the exact same amount of autofocus you're going to have. I did try out the face tracking as well, and the face tracking did a fantastic job. It grabbed the face, it focused right on it. I tried it for several different pictures that I shot. You can see it working in this video here, and I tried it with many different shots, and it seemed to always find faces. It could find several faces in the same frame, and it did a very good job. I was very happy with this. I was, in general, just very happy with this setup. If you've got lots of Nikon stuff, if you're looking to jump ship and you got several Nikon lenses, this one here is $370, so it's not cheap. It's the price of a nice-ish lens. It's definitely not something you just go out and buy like you would a $12 adapter. It costs a lot of money, but if you're spending $400 to get the use of 6 or 10 lenses on your Sony system, then it's worth it. It's just, I mean, it's a lot cheaper than going out and selling all your Nikon gear and buying lots of Sony gear. Sony lenses aren't cheap. If you've already got Nikon lenses, spend the $400, get the adapter, it works great. So I have had nothing but a positive experience with this except for the video autofocus. Shooting pictures with this thing is fantastic. I had a great time just shooting all around with it. You didn't have to think about anything. 99% of the time, what you were thinking about having in focus, it managed to nail every single time, and I was happy with it. And it's fairly lightweight. It feels pretty small on the A6500 here. It doesn't really add any more bulk or weight to the camera than any just standard dumb adapter would. It may be a little bit heavier, but as far as the size of it, you're not going to really notice it any different from a standard adapter that you'll have to manual focus everything with. It's got kind of the speckled finish that you'll see on a lot of camera bodies, which kind of leads to a durable, scratch-resistant coating, and it feels very substantial. It's got a 1/4 thread in the bottom for you to mount to your tripod, and that seems to work well. I did use that on a tripod yesterday, and it's got nice deep grooves in it, so the quick release plate really grabs onto it and keeps it from rotating a lot better than the default ones on the bottom of the A6500, that's for sure. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. This thing is awesome for pictures, it's terrible for video, and it's got a massive selection of lenses. It didn't kill either of my cameras. I did have one time where it wouldn't autofocus at all, so I turned off the camera, turned it back on. It seemed to work again. I don't know what that was all about, but it was the only issue I had with it so far. So this thing gets a massive thumbs up for me for photography only, massive thumbs down for me when it comes to shooting videos. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys like this video. I got links for this adapter in the description if you're interested in buying one. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.